Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen. The saga of poor investment continues. The Lord of the Rings of Power has declined, basically. Total watch time has declined. Now what is that? I mean, that's the amount of people that are interested in it, the amount of people that are watching it overall as well. Basically, viewership ratings are hugely on the decline. And this is Amazon Prime just doubling down constantly. They've already said that they are definitely committed to 5 seasons. Okay then. It's not my money. Well, I guess technically it is if I pay Amazon Prime. I should probably cancel that, shouldn't I? Anyway, hilarious stuff. Absolutely hilarious stuff. They just want to keep doubling down on this. And we will keep talking about it. I think, and we'll get to this report in a minute, but I think the most interesting thing about Lord of the Rings of Power, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, is that they literally had the opportunity to change it. They literally had the opportunity to listen to feedback, accept the good criticism, and then potentially course correct the negative, but they chose not to. So you get what you deserve, basically. I mean, what else can you say? So let's take a look, ladies and gents. I'll leave this article linked down below. But it says here, look, new viewership data from Luminate, which is a partnership with Variety, so not small time, and it is mainstream media basically. And I would imagine, just side note, before we get into the actual figures, they still would have skewed this ever so slightly, because they did with the Acolyte. So, and I think it was Ahsoka as well at the time. So when the actual figures come out, say from Nielsen and Samba TV, those more independently focused sort of trackers, definitely not associated to mainstream media, it may tell an even worse story. But anyway, let's take a look, right? So Luminate reveals that the Lord of the Rings of Power total watch time for its third week declined by over 51%. I mean, that is really bad. So you'd already lost 50% from each season premiere, and then you lose an extra 50% from week 1 to week 3. So episode 1 to episode 5. Not good. Really, really not good. That's hilariously bad. So data analytics company Luminate reports that the Lord of the Rings of Power only garnered 372.7 million minutes watched for the week of September 6th through September 12th. Now, it is also important to note is that it would have been higher the first week anyway, because they released 3 episodes. So it's like 3 hours. Or actually, it was over because they were over an hour episodes. But anyway, it makes sense that it would be less. But it is also a comparable thing that they're comparing from the second week as well. So it's still a notable decline. It says here that is 51% less than the show's second week. Second week garnered 764.7 million, right? But again, it is also important to note is that these figures that they're showing is all of it. It's the whole show. So it's still on the decline, right? Like it's still a declining viewership base, which is terrible. So in its first week, the show only garnered 63.2 million minutes watched, albeit it was only available to watch for a single day in Luminate's weekly window. Variety reported the show failed to chart in the top 10, but instead was 37th on Luminate's chart in its first week, which makes sense. Trying to be objective about this. So now, obviously, the second week should have gotten significantly more watch time, because Prime Video and Amazon MGM Studios released 3 episodes right off the bat, with a total runtime of 204 minutes, whilst the 4th episode, which debuted on September 4th, has a total runtime of 65 minutes, and the 5th episode's runtime, which debuted on September 11th, is 61 minutes. However, so this kind of just breaks it down. However, the fact that the second week only peaked at 764.7 million minutes watched has to be disastrous for Prime Video, given Nielsen reported back in 2022 that the first week of the show's 2-episode premiere raked in 1.253 billion minutes watched. So even using the figures which are, had been released previously to compare it, it's really bad. So those first 2 episodes only had a runtime of 132 minutes at the time. So even if you give Prime Video its best case scenario, the show only brought in around 4 million viewers. That's way down compared to the estimated 9.5 million viewers the first season brought in. That is a decline of 57.2%. That's so bad. But not any... it's not surprising. So Luminate is not the only data analytics company that shows Prime Video's Rings of Power has seen massive viewership fall off. So this is what I said before. New season of Rings of Power is out with 902,000 households tuning in over the last 5 days. So that's 5 days, 902,000. And then before, it was 1.8 million over 4 days. So it was a 50% drop off, basically, with 1 extra day of viewership. It's just horrendous. So not only are the premiere viewership numbers way down on season 2, but it appears people who checked out the premiere for season 2 are already abandoning the show. And we can see this from the reviews that are coming in. Right? Like, so episode 1, 12,000 reviews. Episode 2, 10,000 reviews. Episode 3, 9.9 thousand views. Episode 4, 7.6. Episode 5, 4.1 thousand reviews. So people can't. They've just abandoned it. Like, I've abandoned it. People. It's so funny because I did a video saying I'm done, and people were like, "Yeah, no, you'll watch every single one." I haven't. I haven't watched the last one. Haven't watched the last one. I finished my reviews at, what was it, episode 3. I cannot be bothered. Like, it's devoid of any form of entertainment. It elicits no emotional response but boredom, which is the worst, most egregious thing media can be, is that it is simply boring. Even if it makes you angry, or it's humorous, or, you know, joy and happiness, suspense, thrilling, all these kind of things, that's something. But Rings of Power really takes, like, the all-time prize for being just a boring show. So I cannot be bothered to waste my time. So all the data appears to lend credence to a report in The Hollywood Reporter back in April. Kim Masters revealed that 63% of individuals who watched part of the show's premiere back in 2022 did not complete the show. So they didn't come back between seasons. And now they're losing even more of the people that had stayed between seasons as well. But what's worse, you've got to consider about this, right? Some shows find a new lease of life on streaming. Right? They find a new lease of life on streaming. There's shows like Suits and things like that that just come to life on streaming platforms. They find brand new audiences. This has been there for like 2 years and no one cares about it. Lord of the Rings, no one cares about it. For 2 years it's been there. That's horrendous. So no, I thought this was funny. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop it down below. Cheers, take care, bye-bye now.